G'day golfers. Ever found yourself redirecting blame and making excuses after having an absolute shocker on a golf course? I know that I have. Range was closed, I was a little cold, didn't warm up, I hit it in those 3 old divots. Then we have the podcast for you. We focus on how to fundamentally own your swing. Strike it pure and consistently shoot in the 70s. Be it if you're a weekend hack, retired and playing daily, a school phenom or a tour professional. We present and discuss facts and physics pertaining to golf, trying to keep our ego and opinion at bay. We dispel myths such as keep your head down, bend your knees, or my all-time favourite, game improvement irons. So stop drinking that mythical Kool-Aid and have a sip of ours. I think you'll find it both inspiring and refreshing. I'm Scott Young, founder of Swing, PGA professional and ex-tour player. Welcome to Pivot the Path. G'day golfers and welcome to Pivot the Path. Trust this finds you having a good week as the lead up to the Masters ramps up. So we're really looking forward to our first major of the year. Obviously golf's in a bit of a fractured state and we're really hoping that the live guys step it up and be competitive with the limited golf that they've played. And our improvement pivot point comes from a little bit of personal journey last week and also looking, as we always do, at the cream of the crop, the PGA Tour. And Aussie had a win this week and we'll get into that. And the improvement pivot point comes from how we've looked at the PGA Tour improve week to week, what the players have said in their post-round interviews, which we try and read between the lines there a little bit, and how to own your swing by improving the root problem of your golf ball flight and not so much trying to put holes in a pipe that might be leaking, because there's no perfect golf swing, but there's perfect math to execute ball flight. And our job is to fix the root problem here at Swing, both in movement and golf swings, to ensure that you guys play your best golf, which is terrific. So news from the fairways. We had a pretty quiet week in the old sporting world. F1's on a break. They're coming back to the Japanese F1 this coming year. So Mr. Doohan wanting you to win that top 10 first race, son of MotoGP. So the DP Tour, we had the big Spaniard Eugenio Chacarra. He shot 4 under in the Indian Open, Hero Open leg of the DP Tour. And the Indian Open usually has a pretty strong Indian field. Not a lot of the Aussies go. Elvis Smiley didn't travel that leg. Obviously, it's a long way to go for a golf tournament with the fluctuations of humid and seasons there. And the big Spaniard, Wake Forest alums, the boy can play, he's 25 odd, first DP Tour win, which was terrific. So the LPGA, we had a bit of a battle out of 2 veterans. Kim Hae-jun and Lydia Vu had a bit of a battle out. Actually, I thought Lillian would take out the LPGA event after 3 rounds, but Kim came back and they had a battle out playoff, and Kim Hae-jun won there. And so they're 2 veterans, they've been around a long while. So they're just plugging away there. And then we didn't have Corn Ferry. We didn't have Live Tour, which kind of ties back to our Live aren't playing a ton of golf in the start of the season, only a couple of events. And they've got to really step it up to play the Masters. So I hope the Live guys, they're kind of organising events, which I'm sure they are. And then big news, Australian, Aussie, Mingwoo Lee. We've been following Mingwoo every podcast of 69, 8 podcasts we've been doing here. And he had his first PGA Tour win, which I was absolutely ecstatic for. Before we jump into Mingwoo, it was great to see Gary Woodland, who's just come back from a brain cancer. And again, the PGA Tour obviously control world golf, and they're still so focused on Tiger. Here's a great story. Gary Woodland has a brain tumor. Everyone rallies around him. He comes tied second, first PGA Tour, kind of back in the real throes of where he left a couple of years ago after winning his major at Pebble. And just what an amazing individual, and yet you hardly even heard about it. That's such an amazing story. Gary Woodland closed with a quiet little 8 under. Scotty Scheffler, Mingwoo Lee battled it out. And this is where I think it's really important. And I'd like to talk about news from the fairway and also tie this into our improvement pivot point. So Mingwoo played very well on the players the first 3 rounds, which Rory won. And Rory played again very well this week, which was terrific. He's obviously a hell of a guy. Minwoo Lee finished very poorly in the Players, and in his post-conference last week, and obviously again this week, mentioned that he kind of gave himself to kick up the arse after the Players, where he really didn't finish with a strong showing, and that creates a pattern for the weeks coming forward. But Minwoo Lee was 5 ahead after 3 rounds, and then after 41 holes of bogey-free golf, opened the face gear effect, and the commentators said it was a poor swing. No, he opened the face. Obviously, wasn't switched on mentally, and it just shows you how the commentators, not sure about gear effect and what have you. But as the camera was slowing, you can see how much Mingwoo's face opens, and he came from the inside. And if you come from the inside and open the face, that's a massive duck hook. So he snap hooked it into the water, and absolute credit to the young Aussie. Instead of getting his feathers ruffled with the world number 1 Scotty Scheffler, who's just a machine, ploughing down, he finished 7 under, I think. Yeah, he finished 7 under for his 4th round. So he and Gary Woodland tied second. Mingwoo just knuckled down, emotionally knew where he needed to be, and then had a really good 2-putt on the 18th after airmailing or hitting the back edge of the green, bouncing through, adrenaline pumping. He managed to settle his nerves, focused on where he needed to be, to 2-putt from about 35, 40 feet, and to win his first PGA Tour event. And I think this is a really, really important message to explain to A, the golf community, and B, how we as golfers can get better. We hope that you're loving our podcast. We love putting it on, but we want to just share what we believe to be the truth behind what happens week to week in both professional sport, as we see F1 playing out, and also obviously more poignant to us, the PGA Tour. Rory missed another 5-footer, missing the ball left. And what you notice from the US Open where Bryson won, Rory's missed a shitload of putts left. Not during early part of the round, but when people are watching and when it counts. And my point is not to bag on Rory, such an amazing golfer, and certainly, one of the greatest that's ever played. But the problem is patterns and habits get created and create momentum week in, week out. Here's a young kid, Mingwoo Lee, never had a PGA Tour event. Took stock of his players and said, hey, and to his point, watch the interview, I really needed to kick up the arse. I didn't finish that strongly. And when you're not emotionally vested and you're not really creating habits for weeks to come, and tie it back to Tiger, whilst Tiger frustrates me that we keep on holding on to him, the thing that Tiger did, in my opinion, better than most, greatest ever player, in my opinion, he certainly created a habit that every time he played golf, he was like he was playing in the last round of a major. And that's the thing I find with Rory, is that when push comes to shove, the back nine of most of Rory's PGA Tour events, he's missing a lot of putts low and left. And again, the 18th, the last putt of the tournament for him, missed a 6-footer low and left, which tells me that his crew are, again, not getting him to work on what he needs to work on, which is putting him under mental duress. Go back with Tiger. Go and work out with the SEALs for a couple of days. Become mentally fatigued, then practice your 6-footers coming in. The point is, we've got to create mental stress to see how our technique plays out. Someone like Scotty Scheffler is just a powerhouse coming into the clubhouse. Great to see Gary Woodland, powerhouse, coming into the clubhouse. Now, you could throw out there that the tournament for them wasn't really on the line. They were a couple of holes behind. Tell you what, Scotty Scheffler, Mingwoo Lee makes 2 more bogeys coming in 17, 18, and it's a different story. Circle back to Mingwoo Lee, 2 putts from 35, 40 foot, and secures his first PGA Tour event. Why? I'm not in the Mingwoo Lee camp, but my guess is, based on what he said, is that he looked inwardly and said, right, where have I not been performing my last round, my round 4 of major events, major PGA Tour events? I haven't been performing how I want to and how I know I can. Kick myself in the ass. This week got it done. Look out for the majors this year. Mingwoo Lee starting to play very well. And also young Sami Välimäki, big old Finnish guy, big boy, 6'2", 6'3". He finished with 62, 64. Look out for him for the majors as well. So as the major season starts to ramp up, Augusta next week, just watch the guys who've been creating good momentum, because remember, momentum brings us forward and creates habits. And again, this is not a bashing of Rory, but I find it absolutely stark that no one's talking about it. No one's talking about how Rory keeps making the same misses left with his putting. It's not a putting thing, it's a mental thing. When the pressure's on and the last 9 holes are applied, it's that unenviable squeeze that professional athletes have to deal with. It's that, is Max Verstappen going to take that gap when no one else wants to? Absolutely he will. You know, will Scotty Scheffler take that little up and down and that par putt? And Scotty Scheffler's just starting to hold some putts. So what we're going to find is that the players are backing their games out, looking at the major calendars. So be wary of Scotty Scheffler. It would not surprise me if he goes ballistic at Augusta in the next coming week. Rory, I don't think mentally strong enough to get it done. Gary Woodland coming into his own. And again, watch out these young guys, these young 20-year-olds, this young Finnish chap. He just was on fire, the back 9. And even, you know, our dearest Mingwoo Lee, mate, so happy for you. Andrew Tudor, who's with Cam Davis. Cam didn't play last week, obviously trying to get his game ready for the majors. Chudes was on the bag for Mingwoo's sister, Minji. So obviously Chudes would have knows Mingwoo very well. So we're just all excited for Mingwoo there. A couple of boys didn't play. Cam Young didn't fare. Cam Davis didn't play. Elvis Smiley didn't play. And obviously our Mingwoo won. So we're absolutely ecstatic. So just to tie this back to our improvement pivot point for the week, what did we notice about Mingwoo Lee? He looked inwardly and he found the root problem of his golf game was that he was just getting mentally fatigued and not mentally sharp enough the back 9, back 14 holes of that round 4. And this week, by God, he got it done, which was absolutely superb. So the improvement pivot point comes from also understanding how PGA Tour, because that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to be the best of who we are in every moment. What is swing? As I try to create a brand, we're growing our brand, we want swing to be the world domineering brand of golf improvement. So every time a customer and a member comes into swing, they leave that hour later better than when they started. And so what I wanted to share with you is I played my first round after, 4 months indoors here because of obviously the weather. I wanted to start to take stock of, right, what do I need to work on? I've been working short game and putting. I realize after 25 years that I haven't been able to hold my short game logo up to the sky through impact. So I've been flipping my pitching quite a lot. How do I know that? Just looking at data, looking at cameras, being objective. And then after last week, just noticed I've been getting a little flat. So I wanted to show you how to fix the root problem of your golf game. One thing that all our community mentioned to us, everyone's got swing faults other than Rory. Rory's just so pure. Everyone's got swing faults. Our job is to work out what the root problem is that takes from the math of ball flight. And I've noticed I've been getting a little flat, lifting my arms, cupping my wrist and getting a little open. But focusing on my hand position and the club face is a band-aid. What we do better than most is find the root problem of the issue and then we fix it. So why don't I show you what we did? We're going to put up some videos from the round last week. And then the improvement pivot point that we like to take is, as Mingwoo Lee realized mentally he wasn't strong round 4, fixed it, got his team around him to say, right, I could say that I've come, top 10s, top 15s, but deep down in the heart, deep down where those demons lie, which we all have, it doesn't matter that we're not playing in the Masters in the coming week. Rory has got some serious demons about that putting, closing 4 or 5 holes. If you look at his stats, he is missing way too many putts left in the last 6 holes of the golf tournament that counts for him. And I don't really think the PGA Tour events count that much for him. I think he's setting himself up for them. I hope he's setting himself up for the majors. He should be. And just realize how much he's missing those putts left, which again, isn't technical. It's all mental. For me, I haven't been able to put myself under that pressure yet because I'm not playing any tournaments. But for me, deep down, I know I've got a little flat and I know I'm using my arms. So the improvement pivot point, always fix the root problem And you'll find that it fixes 7 or 8 solutions along the way. If you try and fix those 7 or 8 solutions, you're becoming a walking encyclopedia. So I'm going to fix one thing this coming week before I play, hopefully towards the end of next week. Maybe tomorrow I'll get out and have a hit. And if I fix one thing, it'll actually trickle down and fix 7 or 8 in the process. So I'll go show you what we're talking about. Okay, so getting back to the improvement pivot point, I've been working short game for about 4 months. And what I've noticed is I've got away from towel drill a little bit because I'm doing so much short game, which I needed to do, as we've talked about. And then I played last week and I noticed I just got a little flat. Now, what that means is shoulder angles. So remember, golf's all about cause and effect. My left hand and the club shaft and my club face are square at impact. I want to return my left arm, my left grip logo, my watch, my golf shaft and my club face. I want to return them to the same position they started with. A little more forward motion, a little more forward shaft lean. So what I try to do with all our customers in here is I explain that, well, if I know where I want everyone to be at impact, I'm going to start with my hands a little higher at address, and I'm going to try and create a set of environment where I have to move the least amount of possible, right? If we can have the least amount of moving parts, you'll play some great golf. So what that means for me, I noticed that when I got myself on video, I started to get a little flat, right? And so what I'm going to work on for a couple more weeks is to return that steepness of my shoulder angle. How am I going to do that? When I first come into swing and I first start to hit some shots, I'm just going to do a glove logo drill, which is tilt, tuck, target, and I'm just going to feel like my logo down, shoulder down, right? And all I'm getting a feel of is that shoulder angle. I'm using more thoracic spine than lower spine. Why these noodles are here is because most males swing with their lower back inside. Ton of PGA Tour guys I'm noticing getting a lot more lordosis through their spine. We've got to go tilt, tuck, and really use that thoracic spine. So I'm going to do that a couple of times, logo down. Logo starts at the target, logo down to the ground. Under and go. And then all I'm going to do, and all I'm going to keep this super simple, is use my towel. Every motion has upside and downside. Not for 1 minute am I saying everyone should use towel drill. But what I am saying is that when you use towel drill, it forces you to rotate more. What's the great thing about that? The more my body moves, the less the club face does. What's the rule of golf? Face less than path. So if I move the club independently of my body, now the face is open. That's why Justin Thomas, again, we use him a lot, is up and down in his consistency. If I keep the club face square to my body, I'm going to return the club square to my body. Therefore, my face will be less than path. Why are we bringing out these new beautiful clubs? Because the math works. There's no clubs on the market that works as well as ours regarding non-offset. So what I'm going to do here after my towel drill, I'm going to set up to the ball. And again, same pre-shot routine. Bend forward, tilt, tuck my tailbone. And all I'm going to really work on is this week feeling like my shoulder down, grooves down, club goes straight back. Okay, first swing of the day, inside 7, face 3, love that. I'm going to feel like the top of my swing, my glove logo's to the sky, a little more Dustin Johnson, but it won't be. If I don't turn and I whip the club inside, as I create leverage, my left wrist gets very vertical. People say cup, that's a very technical word. If my wrist is vertical, my face is open. If my face is open like Justin, he's got to reroute the club to close it. It's just moving parts. Towel drill has fantastic upside that it keeps everything connected. The downside is, yeah, you might lack a little bit of disconnection and reduce your speed. But remember, hips create speed, not hands. So I think towel drill is fantastic, which ties back to you've got to work on your thoracic spine mobility to use towel drill. Every single thing, every motion has cause and effect, right? So again, for me personally, I'm going to do a ton of no club work, just feeling logo down, shoulder down. Why? I want to take away lower back. I want to protect my lower back, and I want to make sure my face stays square to my body for as long as possible. Root problem. Beauty golfers, look, thanks for listening. Remember, you can absolutely own your swing today by getting to the root problem, not just band-aiding the holes in the pipe. And you can own your swing with the work you put into the game, both in the gym, here at Swing. We're working on, for me this week, steepening that shoulder angle. You'll absolutely own your swing when you hit the golf course. Remember, newsletter comes out. Jump on the website, and Masters Week, first major of the year, who's going to win? Hopefully Ming Woo Lee keeps it going. Thanks very much. Bye.